welcome to Bouquet Jazz Dance. One of the things that we're having in the society at large at the moment is a lot of people don't like to show themselves through photographs, don't like to hear their own voice. Is a huge thing at this moment, and people are looking at the websites and Facebooks and social media and looking at key individuals, and they've become ashamed of how they look. Is a big thing. People don't really know behind the scenes. We're now more in a time, in a visual culture, in a time where people are asking you to use your voice more than anything else, presentations. So what you will hear is a lot, about 90% of people don't like to be put on the spot in doing presentations, and you'll hear about 70% to 80% of people do not like to be put on the spot to do social dancing. There's probably a correlation with these things, is that people in the early learning times had negative experiences and are self-conscious about themselves. Now, I'm not going to judge nobody, because I was a shy person who was ashamed of being dark-skinned. I was ashamed of the nose that I had. I was ashamed of the ear that I had. I was ashamed of being dark, very dark skin and black at some point, and people made me feel like that through how they treated me. I was a child born in 1964, and my first early learning years, a lot of the images that were presented to the world, all over the world in 1960, being dark skinned was horrible. And even today, I don't have problems with it, but I understand why people at an impressionable age have problems with self-consciousness about their body, etc., etc. It's particularly in the UK, because the UK was critical. The UK had a black and white minstrel show more than anybody else, 1830 to 1987. Jim Crow was in America from 1750. Jim Crow was in America, promoting negative images of black people, and it's important for people to have an understanding of what impact it has. The impact, all you have to do is look at lighting cream around the world, all over the world, where it is: Asia, Africa, Brazil, India, the biggest continents in the world. They have an issue of people wanting to lighten their skin because of the images that were projected by Western society about people who are dark-skinned. And the opportunities that light-skinned people got led to dark-skinned people not wanting to be themselves and wanting to be light-skinned themselves. These are some of the issues that can happen. What happened for me, I found dance as a vehicle that made me feel just good about myself. But that wasn't the vehicle that enabled me to feel good about myself fully. It was a negative incident that actually, what happened was, at my all-whites primary school, Catholic school, I lived in the slums, it was in the suburbs. I'd gone there because Mum was a Catholic, that was how I got access to it. I was treated badly, teased, called all types of names, nigger, wacoon, etc. Head put down the toilet with feces and urine as an individual, and then he died, passed out because of people flushing my head in the toilet. And what happened, I was saved by a teacher. Anyway, they told me not to tell my parents. I didn't tell my parents, I was too scared. But when parents came and found out I was being bullied, and they immediately sent me and my brother and sister to the Caribbean to go to school. Now, I went to an all-black school. From being an all-white school, this was a big difference, and I lived in an all-black community in the country. Didn't see no white people for the time I was there till I went back came back to the UK. So I had a totally different experience, which my parents wanted me to see, to realise that I had an identity crisis. A lot of the issues need to be resolved. I had a lot of shame about, being poor, being dark, having a flat feet, all sorts of things. Because in school I used to wear special shoes. So I was basically like a nerd. When I went to school, I was like a nerd when I went to school. I had to wear these special type of shoes because my feet were funny, this and that. I used to wear Clarks, and people used to take the mickey out people wore Clarks. I already was timid. I always was shy. I had supposedly low IQ. I didn't read well. I didn't speak well. I had pronunciation problems. I had all sorts of